I'm Jeff Philbin, and this is Dinner DeeAs. Delicious ideas for your dinner and how to make them. Today, homemade ravioli from scratch. We'll do the dough, make the filling, and a delicious vodka sauce, and have it on the table by the end of the show. Joining me to share his ravioli recipe is Dan Bavaro. Originally from New Jersey, he has restaurants in St. Pete, Tampa, Sarasota, and now Clearwater. Known for authentic Italian cooking with ingredients sourced direct from Italy. So great to have you, my friend, inside the Dinner DeeAs kitchen.
Super excited to be here with you today.
I'm stoked because today we're going back to basics and making ravioli, but not from a packet or a can. And is this something that really anyone can make for a dinner? In a weeknight?
Anyone can make the ravioli, or you could just follow the recipe for the pasta dough, and you can make spaghetti, tagliatelle. You get a little creative and some other ones you want to do.
The world is just open at that point.
So much healthier, so easy, gets the family involved.
And nothing out of the can for it, then.
Nothing out of the can.
But it all starts with a good dough.
Obviously, we're talking flour, right? So we have imported Italian flour that we get, and that we're going to use a food processor. You know, there's the old way to do it where, you know, you make a mountain on a table.
I was thinking we had the spoons. We're going to make the well and just kind of start going with it, but we could cut some corners a little bit.
We're talking about cutting quarters to getting the same results. That's what we're doing here.
I love it.
Put some eggs. Okay, a couple pinches of sea salt. Okay.
I think so many people overlook how simple it is to make pasta.
Yeah, so this with the food processor, super easy. See how that's balling up, getting all the ingredients mixed? Once you're about there, that's it. You just stop.
That's it.
Okay, and then
because all we're doing is just mixing the flour, the egg, and a little bit of salt.
Yeah, and that's going to bring that together in the food processor. We're going to take that out. As you can see, it kind of all balled together.
Nice.
Part of the kneading process is to work in some flour, some bench flour into it. And the idea is just to kind of get all those ingredients all together into like a nice ball.
And what are you looking for from a consistency standpoint?
Just like on the outside, kind of like a smooth texture.
Okay.
Not clumpy. What you want to do is, you know, all doughs, once you make them, you usually want them to rest. And then we'll just, not too tight, room temp. And obviously, you just kind of settle that in.
Okay, perfect. How fast was that?
Couple minutes, 3 minutes, yeah, easy.
Simple. So what's next?
So next is the filling. A couple different types of cheeses we're going to put in here. We have imported impastata, which is ricotta. You're making ravioli, you want to make sure you use the impastata because some of the other types of ricotta are very moist.
Yeah.
Doesn't work well with the mix. Okay, then we do fresh mozzarella.
Okay.
You want to, you know, dice that up this way it mixes well. Okay, going to mix that in. Parmigiano Reggiano.
Got to bring it in. Let's do it.
Shredded, not grated. It's just easier for the mixing.
Okay.
Italian breadcrumbs.
Nice.
Some black pepper. Mix that in. Adds a lot of flavor. Gonna take 1 cracked egg. Kind of helps it all come together. And then the best tools you got.
I love it.
Nice set of clean hands, right? And we're just gonna kind of knead this and mix this together.
To get Dan's ravioli on your dinner table tonight, grab his recipe with all the ingredients, the amounts, and the directions at dinnerdeeas.com. Scan the QR code on the screen with your phone. Just open up that camera app if you're taking a photo and point it at that little box in the corner and a link to us will appear. Look at that. Our ravioli filling is ready. Our dough's nearly done. And when we come back, how to combine them into a culinary classic and the sauce to go with it ahead on Dinner DeeAs. Welcome back to Dinner DeeAs. Today we're joined by Dan Bavaro. He's sharing how to make homemade ravioli with vodka sauce. Before the break, we made our ravioli filling by mixing together ricotta cheese, mozzarella, and Parmesan cheeses, Italian breadcrumbs, an egg, and a little black pepper. Simple. And before that, we made our pasta dough from scratch with flour, eggs, and salt. Even more simple. which we then knead it and wrap. And while we let that rest, we're getting started on our vodka sauce. So what's going on here?
Vodka sauce we're making from scratch today. So that's what's going on. First, we start with a little bit of olive oil. Get that nice and hot. Diced up some pancetta, imported from Italy. That's the base of our sauce. And we're just going to let that cook down a little bit, kind of caramelize. Next thing we'll do, we're going to deglaze the pan with vodka.
I love it.
Okay, you can do all that. Then we're going to let that cook down to about half your portion. All right, let that mix up. Got to cook off the alcohol and just kind of bring the flavor into the sauce.
Absolutely. And that's just going to loosen up all of just the nice little pieces, too, that have just come from that pancetta.
Correct. Takes everything. And as it's cooking off the pancetta and you're kind of moving it around so it don't burn, you feel it on the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Just kind of all the flavor just kind of building up.
You feel it, you smell it. And to make this for your family, all you need to do is grab Dan's recipe for the sauce, the dough, and the ravioli. And it's all waiting for you at dinnerdeas.com. Just scan the QR code on your screen to get there. All right, so while this reduces a little bit here, what's next on over in here that you're playing with?
So right now, the dough's rested, so we're going to be sheeting out the pasta. So that's what we're doing right now. So you want, say like a 4x3 piece of dough.
Okay.
Okay, start off.
And what do you have here to work with first? What's this beautiful red, catching my eye, the shiny toy here?
Pasta sheeter. You can find it anywhere online.
Okay.
And you can make, not just ravioli, you have a tagliatelle setting here and a spaghetti setting.
Are they expensive?
About $70. Not bad.
Not bad. Not bad. All right.
This is something you keep clean, keep it in the box in your house. You can have this for years.
Exactly. My parents, before they had kids, my parents every Friday night used to make pasta, and they would bring out their pasta roller and just have fun. So it's one of those things that you can have for a lifetime.
Yeah, that's funny. You guys did pasta growing up. For us, it was pizza night.
We
never made it. We bought it and we watched movies.
That was when they had the kids. That's what happened with our Friday nights. But before the kids, it was that and a big bottle of wine. And
there you go. So obviously with this, you have this, a thick dough, and then you want to bring that size down a little bit to be nice and thin. So you work through your settings.
So you work through the settings, and you're just going to go different settings just to be able to get it nice and thick to start with, and then starting it really thinning it down as you go through.
Yeah, correct. Occasionally add flour if you feel the moisture coming through.
Now, if you wanted to, could you use a rolling pin?
If you want biceps. And it kind of just makes it the right shape. You're looking for a long rectangular shape. Now, if you have pieces that are kind of thinner than the other, once you're done sheeting here, you could easily dust it off, and let's say I wasn't happy with this or this piece, you just fold it over, pass it through the sheet. And then you'd want to flour this pasta mold.
The pasta mold here.
Yeah, and you could buy this again anywhere online or a local store.
It's like a little ice cube tray almost.
There you go. You want to flour that, but before we get into this, maybe we'll hop back here. It looks like that vodka reduced.
It's coming down right exactly where you need it. So what's the next step here in the sauce then?
Next step is your sauces.
Okay.
Now, I brought Bavara's jarred sauces.
Okay.
Obviously, you could buy any one you like from the store, or if you want to even go even further, you make your own sauce at the house.
Perfect.
Okay, but we're going to go with the pomodoro. Carefully add that.
Now, for those that might not know, what's a pomodoro sauce?
Pomodoro is your traditional Italian pasta sauce.
Okay.
Onion, basil based. Just cooked for the right amount of time. Very simple ingredients.
Very light, just not as heavy on those flavors.
Exactly.
That would be a little bit more.
Not a lot of garlic, just enough. It's well balanced. Could be used for any dish you'd like.
Absolutely. A nice natural sweetness behind it too, because the tomato is really a big star to this.
Correct.
Okay, so then
again, pasta sauce is a battle in its own, so I'm not looking to win anything here. Right? Everybody has the family recipe. If that's what you want, you use that instead of our jarred sauce. And what we're going to do is add in a little arrabbiata.
Now, what is that style of a sauce then?
So basically, arrabbiata is very similar to the pomodoro, very smooth texture, light in the flavors. And then you add like a Fresno or a chili pepper just to kind of bring the heat out.
So this one's got a little bit of heat.
Yeah,
and this
we'll use half the amount on that. Okay.
Okay.
So we're going to get that going. Add a little bit of heavy cream.
Okay.
Then we're just going to let the sauce simmer as we're making the rest of the, the pasta sheets and ravioli to that.
All right, so let's get back to the pasta then.
Okay. All right, so here we go. We have a sheet here. right? Pasta sheet fits over the form.
Okay.
And leave yourself a little bit of room. And then what you want to do here is take a little egg. This is like the glue to the pasta.
Okay.
And you can brush through. I mean, sometimes you want to get the lines or just go through the whole thing. Doesn't really matter. The goal is you want the raviolis to stick when they're cut out of the sheeter. Mm-hmm. You know, if you don't use the egg, the pasta will break apart. Okay,
now, if you don't have the tray, can you still make it?
You can still make it.
Okay.
You could easily lay out a sheet, you know, boil your ingredients, place them through, and they make these little die cuts that you could kind of buy, or even if not, you know, pizza cutter.
A pizza cutter? Take a ramekin and just put the ramekin over,
there you
lock
go. You
it
could
in.
do that.
Boom.
That's a good trick. Then obviously we made our ravioli filling, right? And this is a tool here you buy at almost any store, and it's kind of like an ice cream scoop for ingredients.
So then we're just going to do a nice little scoop so it's consistent. So how much would that kind of be? What size ounce are we working with there?
That this is 100 scoops, so
okay,
probably a couple, 3 ounces maybe. Okay. You don't want to make them too big. Obviously, it'll break through the pasta when you're cooking it.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you see that.
Less is more?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is a perfect size that we found. And if you don't have this tool, you don't want to buy this tool, that's fine. Just grab your fingers and, you know, get the ball going.
Okay.
Kind of like a meatball growing up, right?
Yeah.
See, it's trial and error.
Yeah.
And that's the good thing about this. You know, you get time, make some mistakes, do it again the next month with the family, get them all together. Then you want to fill that. You want to give that a stir.
I certainly will.
If you want, Jeff, we could add in some of that cheese. That looks like it's. You want to slowly put that in. This way it doesn't clump. There you go. Looks like you've done that before.
You know, this is one of my favorites to work with here. This is one of my favorite sauces. What type of cheese am I pouring in, though?
That is Parmesan Reggiano.
Nothing but the best.
Always.
Nothing
Key to
but the
cooking is
best.
not having a ton of ingredients.
It's the right.
Key is to have the good ingredients, the right ingredients. Yeah, so we're down to our last two, and then I'll show you how we're going to settle this up. And then you got some chili flakes over there to the right.
Perfect.
Add a little bit more heat.
How much are you going for? I mean,
a little bit of a kick. I mean, that's one of the unique things about.
So a little heavy pinch then?
Yeah, heavy pinch is good. Bavara's vodka sauce does have a kick to it. The idea here, we're going to wrap up this ravioli. So obviously all the ingredients, you got the egg, you got your pasta sheet down. We're going to take the other pasta sheet and just make sure you clear all the sides. You got to be gentle with the dough. Dough's very sensitive. You know, and if you go through a dough and you make a mistake, you just pass it back through.
Yeah.
You know, so it's very forgiving. Here we go. See some of that air coming out.
Why are you doing just a little bit at a time?
Just to kind of get the dough in the right place. You know, I feel some of the cheese there. See that here? We did the flip over.
All right. So the flip over is this the way to get it out of the tray? This is the technical way. This is
pretty much, yeah. The technical way to get it out.
Okay.
Let's see how forgiving it is. Just got to do a little cleanup.
Perfect. And you just had a little bit of flour so that it wouldn't stick at the bottom.
And let's see here.
And let's see if it.
Whoop. It's broken off.
No, you got a bunch coming out.
There we go.
It was just kind of right there.
All right, there we go.
Look at that. Look how beautiful that looks.
Yeah, so I brought the pizza cutter here. So obviously, probably my hand was a little heavy on this one. Got a little excited, made too big of a ball, and crushed out. But you could save it.
Pasta does that to a lot of us.
You could save it, right?
The ravioli is ready to go. The sauce is simmering, and when we come back, how to cook it up perfectly and combine it all for a delicious dinner. That's ahead on Dinner DeeAs. Welcome back to Dinner DeeAs. Today, we're making a classic Italian meal with Dan Bavaro, whose Bavaro's restaurants are in Tampa, St. Pete, Sarasota, and now Clearwater. Today, he's sharing a traditional recipe for ravioli with vodka sauce, but made from scratch. Before the break, we started the sauce, searing pancetta, deglazing with vodka, then adding the pomodoro and the arrabbiata, heavy cream, parmesan, and a little just a little bit of some chili flakes. While that simmered, we rolled out our pasta dough, running it through a pasta sheeter, then assembling the ravioli with the cheese filling that we made earlier. And now we're ready to get them cooked up because I'm already getting the spits right here. I'm getting steamy.
Ready to eat?
I'm ready to eat too on top of it all. All right, so we've got just some boiling water here.
Boiling water.
Okay.
Always a couple pinches of sea salt.
Okay.
And a little bit of olive oil.
Why the olive oil?
Doesn't stick.
Doesn't
Helps it from sticking.
See? You're learning something here, folks. Okay.
So we got our raviolis that we made, right? Aren't they pretty?
Beautiful.
Drop these in.
Okay.
Now it's not like just for planning purposes. It's not like cooking a box pasta you'd buy at the grocery store.
Yeah.
You know, fresh pasta only takes, maybe 2 minutes. You'll see it, start floating to the top. Whereas a box pasta is, you're talking 9 minutes, 11 minutes, depends on, the die cut and everything.
If you want this for your dinner tonight, you've seen how quick we've made it. Grab Dan's ravioli recipe at DinnerDeas.com. Scan the QR code to find it fastest. Now, it's one thing to make a great dish. It's another thing to have a great dish that is restaurant quality. What are you doing right now with this frying pan?
So what I'm doing is what most people don't know what to do when you cook pasta.
Okay.
All right, so obviously you have your sauce, you have your pasta cooking off. What do you do in between? Like, what does a restaurant do differently?
Yeah.
And this is really it. You get a hot saute pan, put your sauce in there, bring it to a light boil, and the idea is to cook your pasta in the sauce, in the pan, before it gets plated out to the guest.
Perfect.
That's when pasta absorbs the flavor. They look like they're ready to come out to me. What do you think?
Oh yeah, they are. They're already at the top. They're dancing. They're kind of jumping out of there. They're like, please put on the plate, please. I'm ready to eat.
All right, so here we go. You want to get that water out of there too. You don't want like a soupy sauce, right? Cook that sauce down.
So it's important to make sure that you're getting it as dry as you can to get in there for right now. This is that whole
Some
piece.
dishes call for a little bit of the pasta water.
But this one here.
This dish doesn't.
No.
I'm gonna leave that one in there. Okay.
And how many per person would you serve?
So this setting in the restaurant, we serve 10 raviolis.
Okay.
Depends on your family, how much they like to eat. It's kind of just depends on what you want to plate. But
Okay.
we serve 10 in the restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah. So with this here also helps your portion control, and if you're plating multiple dishes at once, we're going to take the raviolis out of the sauce and put that onto the plate.
Love it. These look absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, they came out really nice. I think it was all your help.
Hey, no, I'm
things
learning
along.
from the absolute best. Come on, my friend. This is what it's all about.
Okay. Here we go.
And that just gets me excited. Pasta does that. I mean, like, a good pasta can just totally make everyone just kind of get, just ready for it.
And then for decoration only, a little bit of microgreens,
Okay.
right? Kind of gives that dish a nice little pop.
Well, it makes it stand out, too. It shows that you cared about who you're cooking for.
It's just final
Look at that.
touches.
That's a beautiful piece of art now.
Yeah, now get a little particular, like it's going out to a guest. Clean that plate.
It's pride. You have pride in your dish.
How simple is that?
Absolutely. And when we come back, we're taste testing another inspiring recipes, these beautiful ravioli, right ahead on Dinner Diaz. Welcome back to Dinner Diaz, where we've been making a traditional ravioli without a can opener, because we did it all from scratch. Dan Bavaro is joining us from Bavaro's Restaurants, and he shared his recipe for ravioli with vodka sauce. It looks absolutely beautiful. You ready to start tasting?
Oh, definitely.
All right, let's get you plated up here, my friend.
All right, you're going to serve me. That's good. It's different for a change.
Hey, absolutely. You're here on the Dinner Diaz side here.
All right.
Let's get you.
Looks really good.
Oh, it looks absolutely beautiful. I'm going to go here as well. Go. Boom. Look at
You've done this before?
a time or two before, Manja.
Right.
Look at how beautiful this absolutely looks.
All right, see all the cheese inside?
Oh.
Maybe we lost one. Let's see what we got.
Don't worry if we lost one,
Oh my God.
because we gained everything else right there with all these beautiful flavors coming together.
Yeah, the three cheeses work so well together.
Now, what type
Fresh
of-
pasta. Not chewy, perfectly cooked. Really good.
And that sauce. That sauce brings it all together.
Came together well.
Now, you can make this on the weeknight. This is absolutely a fun dish. This is not an all-day thing.
No,
this
it's
is
not
just,
all day.
We quickly made a fresh pasta dough. Come on now.
I think it's just your schedule, committing to doing it, who in the family wants to help, because it's definitely easier with like two hands, you know, two sets of hands working through the ingredients. Being prepared obviously saves a lot of time. The
Totally.
prep work, you know, as you know, in the kitchens and stuff, in the restaurants.
It could be cheaper than going to the store. Easier
Easily and much healthier.
and healthier. You and
Controlling all the ingredients, making it from scratch, preparing it. You have your hands, you got your love, you got your passion. What's better than that, right?
can't beat that. This is what it's all about. Thanks again to Dan Bavaro. A link to his restaurants and the sauces are at dinnerdeas.com, along with the ravioli recipe we just made and enjoyed. I'm Jeff Philbin. See you next time with more Dinner Dias.